Intro video. All right. Boom, boom, boom. I guess we back from 3 weeks ago. This is your boy Enigma September, and this is the Enigma Sept Hour podcast coming live and direct on Facebook and YouTube. I guess before we get into any and everything, just make sure to hit that like button, hit that share button, leave comments. We'll be able to read the comments on the live version. And then you may see your little name pop up on the side of the screen or whatever. But if you come on the flip side, still leave, on the recorded side, still leave your comments and try to reply to them. But without further ado, also just to let you guys know, of course, change the format a little bit. So you're not gonna get the whole 30 minutes of me rattling on about the new double XL freshman cover that I only know one person. Y'all see the y'all see the gray in the beard. That's the reason why.
It's getting like that now.
Right. I'm like, I know Ray. That's all I got. I don't know who these other people are. But without further ado, man, they got a legend on the show, man, that put in I was correct me if I'm wrong, at least 30 years
Oh yeah, yeah,
in the game.
over 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, bro. Yeah,
You don't
over
look it.
30.
You don't
Thank
look
you,
it.
bro. Thanks, bro.
Um Definitely has held it down for North Florida and particular Tallahassee. Um for again that whole three decades. We were just talking before we came on. I got a core memory, a 30-year core memory that he was a part of, as far as this hip hop thing go. Um, but current program manager at 102.3, Blazing 102.3, excuse me, um, was is the premier hip hop and R&B radio station here in Tallahassee, Tallahassee region, and yeah, many more other acclimates that we're gonna try to get into. But without further ado, man, it's DJ Dap. Nori Claps.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? Happy to be on the Enigma September hour, man. I'm up in here.
Long time coming. Long time coming. Pause.
Yes, sir.
Man, I've been doing this version of the podcast. I think going on 8 years now.
Oh
No,
wow.
well, no, I'm sorry, 7. It was 2018. But I've been doing the podcast in general since 2008. So, um, yeah. So the fact that I didn't get you on in the first half or just now getting you on this part is insane. But we still here. We're still able to do it. So this is why we're doing it. So I'm
Oh yeah.
super excited and honored for you to be here, man.
Thanks.
Um, so I'm gonna get into it like this, and those on notice, I got my pullover representing them Rattlers.
I
So
see.
if you know, you know. But I got I gotta tell you the story because if not, I'm probably gonna get a call from a particular somebody who's gonna be like, "Why you ain't tell Dap about this?" So about it had to be at least 26 years ago, if not 25. Um, I was a freshman uh, at FAM, and despite being a local, I stayed on campus my freshman year, and so I was also an inspiring rapper. I hadn't even came up with my current stage name yet. I think at the time I was going by E Class the Imperial.
Okay.
I don't judge me out there. I was going by E Class the Imperial, and so I was just hungry for beats and instrumentals or whatever, so I can like write to. Hadn't recorded anything yet. I was just purely just a writer, and I think you were doing some promo on campus at the time, and I think you was like handing out like promotional CDs or something, and either I knew or I thought that the CDs would have like an instrumental that I could use to write to. So you was walking somewhere, you was getting to the van, and you were getting ready to ride out. whatever. And I remember I ran behind the van. I'm like, Dad, Dad, Dad. Of course, you didn't hear me. They pulled off. So I came back, kind of disappointed, like, dang, I really want the CD. Um, but then my homies was looking at me. They was like, E, bruh, I know you just then chase after Dap, screaming his name out like a little groupie.
Nah,
You a groupie
nah.
dog? You and I
I
was like,
would
no,
never think that. I would never think that.
they did. They was looking at me crazy. Like, bruh, really? You chasing
It's
after
it's
Dap like
always
that?
your boys, man. You know.
Man, yeah.
But you
So
need that because that always keep you where you need to be a lot of times. You know what I'm saying?
right. Definitely they put me in check, like, hey, bro, you need to relax. You need to
Yeah.
chill out. Um,
They might
because
not
I
see
would
your vision a lot of time, but they there to kind of buffer you a little bit.
right, exactly. But I'd be remiss if I didn't have you on the show and didn't tell you that story. Because yeah, it was mad crazy at the time. But if you can, you just want to give the people, give people a rundown of who DJ Dap is.
Oh man, I'm from Panama City, Florida. Uh, Project kid from Panama City, Florida. By the way, I got into I got into wanting to do music like in the '80s. I was captivated by at the time like groups like New Edition and artists like MC Hammer. Um, at my time, that's who I was seeing. They were like starting to blow and starting to become big and do their thing. But it's a bunch of different, rappers like Run DMC. So this is my time. This is what I'm seeing. In the '80s is what I'm talking about. So that's what I saw. LL Cool J, Run DMC, Hammer starting to crank up. New Edition, and those groups inspired me to want to do music. So when I was in high school, I got with my friends to do a talent show. And the talent show, we put together our little group. And back then, man, when you was trying to be a rapper, you danced. You know what I'm saying? You hear me
Right.
saying my influence was Hammer and New Edition. What they do, they hit them dance steps on you. And back then, you have to wear the colorful outfits and all of that because you had to put on an actual performance. Like you got to perform.
Right.
You couldn't. Now these days or a little later, it got to be you could walk around with a T-shirt on and just hold your junk and spit on a microphone.
Right.
But back then you had to perform. You had to put on a show. So we had a little talent show. Me and my friends, we wanted to win, so we got together. We was all in the marching band together in high school in Panama City. We attended Rutherford High. So we put together our little dance routine. My boy, he rapped real well, so we pulled him in so he could rap. I rap a little bit, and then there's two or three of us. We made sure we got it. We said, man, we got to put a female in the group. We put a female in there to dance with us. You know what I'm saying? And we killed the talent show, bro. I mean, shut it down. Everybody going bananas. So they were like, oh man, we want to see y'all do that again. And we went ahead and they had us perform at the school pet rally. And we performed that routine again and killed it. Everybody going bananas. So after that, we just said we gonna create a group, and we did, man. We went around performing all over North Florida, South Georgia. Next thing you know, I'm coming up here to the Moon and Tallahassee at the time. And I'm going back on some of y'all. I'm showing my age, but the Moon used to have something called Showtime at the Apollo. They used to do the Apollo at the Moon, and if you won in the adult category, they actually sent you to New York for you to enter into the real Apollo. So they had a connection to the Apollo in New York to put you on stage. So if you won the adult category, unfortunately, we weren't in the adult category. We was just kids, but we won the young people's category. I think we won them all. We never lost one. And that was for like 2 years in a row that they were doing this. You'd have to, first of all, you had to perform at one of the rec centers for the audition, win the audition, and then you would be invited to the show, and then you would have to win the show. Well, we would win every audition and every show. I remember we beat Dead Prez, who used to perform at the thing, and we beat them, and they're the ones that ended up going on getting a record deal.
Right.
But I remember us performing alongside Anthony Williams at the time. There's a girl named Shanice. She was a super amazing singer. These people are still alive around Tallahassee, but they're amazing artists. And yeah, that's who we used to compete against, bro. So we were doing so good with that talent show. People was trying to sign us to record deals. So we were looking at contracts. We used to open up for groups like KJ and the Fellas. I don't know if y'all remember that. Hey, y'all, let's get this party started. Now that this party, something that now go. I don't know if y'all remember. That's an old school record. But we would open up for them. We opened up for Gucci Crew too, who had the song Sally. Y'all remember the song? Oh, Sally.
Sally.
Right.
My Gear Girl. Yeah.
So we did all that performing. And while we was doing all that performing, man, we used to have to visit radio stations to be interviewed. And my friends, man, they didn't never want to talk. They would always get me to talk. Let Dap talk, man. He's a talker. Let him talk. And one of those times we were at a community college in Panama City, and we performed. So they invited us out to perform for the college for the basketball team. We were the halftime, tore it down, had everybody going bananas, bro. That's a white guy from the college station who saw me and said, "Hey, man, I want to invite you guys to the radio station so I can interview you guys and talk about your group." Man, all of my crew members, they were like, "Man, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. Dap, why don't you go do the interview for us?" I said, "Come on, man, y'all tripping. It's a opportunity lifetime. We could get on this way. That's how you get on." Right. I thought, y'all go ahead. I'll do it. I got it. Y'all, whatever. I got it. So when I go in there and we did the interview, this dude started showing me all the stuff in the radio station. He said, "Man, check this out. You got the gift of gab, bro." He said, "Man, I've been trying to get on in the Panama City scene as a DJ for a minute, and I can't get in." He said, I like to partner with you." He said, I'll show you how to do this radio stuff. I can get you a radio show. That way you can play your music. And then, maybe if you could help me with DJing, we could play your record in a club. If me and you get on in the club, and I'll pay you a percentage of whatever I make in the club, I'll shoot you a percentage of it. Me and him decided, I said, "For real, dude?" Yeah, but this dude, like 20 at the time, he's probably like 25, 26. Dude, I'm 17 in high school still. Right. But he saw that skill set in me, and he was like, "Hey, man, look, let's make this happen." So he said, "Come by the crib and I'll show you my DJ equipment and my records and stuff." I talked to my parents. I mean, yeah, go check him out. Go see what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Go, of course, my mom and them, they supported me. Go check him out. Go, y'all team up and see what you come up with. Man, this white dude, he halfway balling. He had done started balling early. But I went out there and what this white dude put these vinyl records on the turntable, man, and started cutting and scratching. And I said, "Oh my God, bro. He playing all the latest rap records, and he got all the hottest records. He tearing it down," but he did not talk. Right. He said, "That's what I need you for." He said, "If you talk and I play," he said, "I think we can make a dynamic team." I said, "Man, you might have something there." So we started practicing. I started coming up with some little party chants and stuff like that. And at the time, at a part of the group, I was called MC Dap. And when I started DJing with him, it changed from MC Dap to DJ Dap. I got to tell you where I got the name Dap from in a minute. But so we
get the follow up.
Right. So we start practicing every day. We probably practiced for like a couple of weeks. And I was like, I had this crazy idea. I was like, man, because we were like, man, we got to get in a club. He said, "But I ain't been able to get in no clubs around here. I'm from somewhere else. I'm here to this new in the city. I've been able to get on at the college, but I can't get in the clubs." He said, think about it. In the 80s, there's a white guy trying to DJ hip hop. That wasn't about to go down nowhere. They just wasn't going to have it. So I was like, you know what? Let me talk to my cousin, man. My cousin owns a club. And this is the crazy thing. I told him, I said, "There's clubs in the hood and it's 21 plus. Now, back at my crib at the time, we had a club called Glenn's. Glenn's is just like Top Flight, an adult 21 plus club, but it's situated in the hood. So when everybody would park at this club, they would park all down the streets, on both sides of the streets, you know what I'm saying? And it would be packed out. Adult vibe. You're just adult 21 plus. Hot DJ in the building. And at the time, this is a guy from the Air Force Base. He was in there DJing, DJ Fresh. I remember his name to this day. DJ Fresh was a DJ from Tyndall Air Force Base, but he would come into town and DJ at that club and it'd be packed out. So I decided to go out there early to talk to my cousin. I bought my dude. The name of the DJ that I'm talking about, the white guy's DJ RPM. If you know music, you know RPM means rotations per minute.
Right.
So, but that's what his name was. So I took him with me, and we go. And my older cousins, they in the back in the kitchen at the club. So I walk around to the back door of the club, and I knock on the door. They're like, it's family. So I know. Every now and then I would stop by there, and I'd be hanging out with one of my older cousins. We'll go by there and get a little chicken plate, little fry plate. You know, that's what they fix at those clubs, chicken and fries. So I knew what time my cousins would be in there cooking, getting ready for the club. It was like 8, 9 o'clock at night before the club opened at 10. So I knock on the door. They like, hey, little cuz, what's up? You come by to get one of them chicken plates? I said, no. I said, you know what? Yeah, I want one, but I want to talk to y'all about something else. They're like, what's up? Who's the little white boy you got with you right here? Oh, this is my partner, RPM. Partner, what y'all doing? I was like, I want to see if y'all wouldn't mind letting me and him DJ in the club. They looked at each other. What club? You talking about this club? Boy, they fell out laughing, dude. Now imagine you got your 17-year-old little cousin standing there with a halfway balding white guy talking about DJing in your adult club that's just like Top Flight. Now imagine that little kid from Rickards coming over the Top Flight with a white boy from college in the 80s talking about DJing in your spot.
Right.
Man, my cousin number. Huh?
The Top Flight of all places.
Right. So my cousin them laughed their head off, bro. All right, cause it was all right, little cuz, check this out. Man, your mama kill me if I let you up in here. You really serious about trying to? I said, yes, cuz we've been DJing and all this. They're like, man, y'all ain't got no experience. Don't nobody know who y'all are. Look at y'all. You ain't old enough to be in here. And look at the white boy. The white boy don't know how to play no black music. Why you even bring that to us? They're like, all right, you family. So I tell you what. If we ever need a DJ for some strange reason, we might give you a shot. I'll call you. You know what I'm saying? So we'll let you know. I know they would just let me down easy. They gave me some food, stumped me off, but I can hear them laughing when I'm walking off.
Right.
2 weeks later, though, my cousin called me. Cuz, you still DJing with that white boy? I said, yeah, cuz, what's wrong? Man, we got a situation. I said, what's going on? The DJ we supposed to have done double book. He got to go to Eglin Air Force Base, which is in Fort Walton. I need a DJ tonight. He set up there, thought he's supposed to be with us tonight. He down there, and now club about to open in an hour and a half, and we ain't got no DJ. I said, we'll be there. Just like house party, we loaded down that damn car. He had a little itty bitty Yugo. I kid you not. A Yugo, a little itty bitty car. We loaded that thing down with all his speakers, his record crate. I was holding the records in my lap for real. Seriously, it was just like I thought the people at house party stole what happened to me and used it for the damn movie.
Right.
We rolled up to this place. We started loading in the equipment. And we got everything all set up and stuff. And it's time for the club to start opening. People start now back then, DJ booths were huge. Like, first of all, DJ booth was a real DJ booth with it was all big and it was tall. Theirs was tall. They had like these stacks and there was records everywhere and speakers everywhere. So you couldn't really see who was back there DJing. And we got the music going. And people started coming in. Everybody kind of like bounced their head, like, ah, damn, the music sound. And I'm peeking around the corner, and everybody just like, ah, damn, the music sound way better tonight. What the hell going on? So I see my cousin, which is my older cousin's daughter. The owner of the club has daughters, and they're my age. I'm sorry. They're a little older than me. I'm 17. They were literally 21, 22. So they were old enough to be in the club. One of my cousins come back. I remember to this day. Her name Quilla Glenn. Name of the place is Glenn's, by the way. Again,
right.
She looks around the corner of the DJ booth. She said, "Look, cuz, what your little ass doing?" Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to curse.
No, you good? Internet.
What your little ass doing back there behind the DJ booth? I said, "I'm DJing." She said, "DJing what?" It's a going joke. I said, "I DJ now." "Boy, you ain't no DJ. What you doing back?" I said, "Me and my partner." "What partner?" She looked. "Boy, I know you ain't got no white boy back there. What your little ass in this club for with a little white boy talking about you DJing?" She was like, "Cousin, you finna embarrass our family." I said, "I promise you I won't." She said, "Look here, you better represent, because if you get back there and embarrass me, I'm gonna kill you." She said, you better represent. She said, "Oh my God, we in trouble." She started freaking out. Dog, by the time we had that conversation, the club was getting packed and more packed. And within the next 5 minutes, we had the club off the roof. Everybody was hands up in the air. The club was swinging from the roof from side to side. We had the whole club chanting the songs, singing the songs. They lost their mind. Then they looked up there and they realized that it was they little homeboy from high school and a white boy back there DJ, which made them go even crazy, because here is a 17-year-old kid on the mic and a white boy DJing the music.
Right.
They blew their mind, bro. And that's how I got started with DJing. And this is before I even got to Tallahassee. I ain't even made it to Tallahassee yet.
No, that's a hell of a story. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, because I wanted to know what was the transition, because I still, like, today, like, I would tell anybody, like, if you know somebody that want to get into hip hop, especially if they trying to get paid, right? I'm like, don't be a rapper. Like, unless you love it, like, you're not gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be putting money out. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're really trying to get money, the best thing you can do is either be a DJ or a producer. You know what I mean? Maybe even a manager. You know what I mean? Because you get people to pay you to do stuff. You know what I mean? You can make it almost an occupation. So in that, I was kind of wondering, like, how did you transition from MC Dap to DJ Dap? But now we know, and that is crazy. I can't even imagine how mind blowing that had to be, to get that type of reception, especially from people you grew up with.
Oh yeah.
But of course, you mentioned earlier, and I don't know why my hands look so big. Crazy, right?
That's how they did with the rap video. That's how Buster came up with you. Rah, rah, rah.
Wow, got you all.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess one thing I'm super curious about, and have been for a while, because like I said, you've been a part of my hip hop consciousness for at least 30 years now. Yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah, so man, at this time when I'm doing all this crazy stuff, trying to be a DJ and performer, I was also in the marching band in high school. And every evening, after school, I would have to be in band practice. My friends, some of them did some sports, but for the most part, they would be hanging out in the streets in Millville, Florida, where we're from, in Panama City. That was the name of our hood, Millville. I would be at band practice. So one particular day I was at band practice, them boys decided they were going to go to the movies. And the movie they went to see was School Days. Now, you remember in the movie School Days, Lawrence Fishburne played a character named Dap Dunlap.
Right.
So how about I act just like the freaking character, bro? just like the character. I ain't gonna tell you what the other similarities were, but all of it, all the similarities fit. They could not believe it. They were like, this is not happening. How in the hell is Lauren Fishburne acting just like that? Acting just Afrocentric in school with the I used to walk around in my high school with an African cane with a staff. You know, they had them African staffs. I had the ankh on with the, and I used to wear the hats with the. I had all that stuff. I had the jewelry with the African stuff, the African bracelets. It's funny, I got on a bracelet now, but I used to wear all of that stuff, bro. And I was just pro-black like that. And when that movie came out, I didn't get a chance to go see it. I was at band practice. My friends went to see it. When they came back from the movie, they just started calling me Dap. Yeah. I was like, man, who is that? Like, what are y'all talking about? Your name Dap from now. I say, hell no, my name ain't Dap. That is not my name. Do not call me that. I ain't with that. They saying it everywhere all over the hood. They get to school, they saying it. And I'm gonna tell you what changed. When I was in school, and we were all at school, and the pretty girls started calling me Dap, and they thought it was cute. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go and take the name." Yeah, I like it now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'm cool. Y'all can call me Dap. I'm good.
That Dap being a member of X Clan.
Yeah, man. I said I saw X Clan. I remember when they came to Tallahassee and performed at Brad Memorial.
What was that?
Yeah, they came. X Clan came to Tallahassee and they had a concert. I believe was it for homecoming. Yeah, X Clan was in Tally. Yeah, performed at Brad Memorial. Yep.
Dang, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
It was amazing, bro. I just one of my most favorite concerts to come and watch them perform all those songs that I knew and loved. You know, I had the X Clan album, used to play the X Clan music, all of that. So I was just blown away to see that concert at Brad Memorial.
Right. No, I remember that era. That had to be. I guess I'm gonna show my age too. Had to be
It was early
4th
'90s. Oh wow.
Yeah. I literally remember. I remember looking at my 3rd grade class picture, and I remember like one of my classmates had a little African Mandela little thing, little joint,
medallion.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely what 89, 90. So
yeah.
But yeah, so okay, so we go from, you know what I'm saying. I'm still mad. Hey man, I'm still finding it funny that it's from school days. That's crazy.
It is some school days, bro. Some school days.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at that movie, you'll see. Yes, that's how I was in high school. Matter of fact, you see my high school picture. Yeah, you'll see the African ankh on, and I also have an African. I think I have a FAMU shirt on in high school with an African medallion on it.
Okay. Yeah. I can definitely picture that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I had my hair cut like Kwame with the golden swirl in the front.
Oh wow.
I swear, I tell you, and now I'm gonna tell you the only reason why that haircut came out because I when I got into Marching 100, when I got to Tallahassee, they made me cut my hair off.
And I was about to get into that. So knew you was in Panama City. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mid part of well, still 904 at that point. We weren't 805 yet. But of course, you get to Tallahassee. How did that transition? How did you end up, you know, at FAMU? And then also too, how did you transfer the DJing that you was doing in Panama City to Tallahassee in the beginning?
So you know, when I was in Panama City, coming up here to Tallahassee, we were performing as a group, and I was meeting all these amazing people who was doing all this stuff. And I was on the radio stations over here being interviewed. Everywhere I went to get interviewed, they would tell me, "Man, you would sound good on the radio. You ever thought about being a radio DJ?" No, I'm a rapper. I'm trying to rap. I don't, you know, I DJ the club, but I don't want to be no radio DJ. So, you know, only way I want to be on the radio is as an artist. You know, if you could play my song, that'd be great. I always have my cassette tape with me, ready for people to play my song. So when I moved up here, the group kind of split up. You know, we all went our separate ways. Most of my All of my matter of fact, all of my friends that were in my group, they all went into the military, bro, except me. All of them went into the military. All of them had long careers in the military. Matter of fact, I had a couple of them literally just retired in the last 2-3 years.
Right.
From the military. So they've done well, man. But I got up here and I said I want to be in the Marching 100. So my eyes were set to go to Tallahassee. So I came up here, and like I said, the hair got cut off. I joined the Marching 100. But right before I really got started with the 100, I was able to get into the DJ scene. People remembered who I was, and me and the white guy still doing stuff together. So they hired us to first of all, before in the transition, before I get here, it was probably like a year in between that, where I was throwing these parties in Panama City. I would throw a birthday weekend. I would call it Spring Fest. I did it on my birthday weekend, Spring Fest during spring break. And I would come up here to Tallahassee to promote my Spring Fest event, where I did a weekend of block parties, car show, comedy show, concert. I did a whole, matter of fact, I hired DJ Saxwell to come DJ. I hired DJ Dap to come DJ for me. I hired comedians all over everywhere to come do the comedy stuff. So I had a weekend of events. I did that probably like 2 years in a row. So this is me getting started. Me and RPM decided, hey, we're going to start throwing shows. So we threw comedy shows. We threw a couple of concerts. I'm doing all this stuff in transition from Panama City to Tally. And then when I got over here, a club called Fahrenheit on Appalachian Parkway, where it used to be the PetSmart. What was it? No, the Toys R Us. It used to be a club called Fahrenheit sat there before they built the Toys R Us. Okay. Well, Fahrenheit hired me and RPM to do their Friday night. They had this other DJ crew called Night Train. Was it Night Train? I remember it was something Train. They had Wednesday night and Saturday night, and they gave us Friday night. That little club hit so hard that it shut other clubs down. It shut the Moon down. It shut other clubs down. No one could do no other nights. Faces, right. The Moon, they just stopped functioning. They couldn't even open because the line at the time, Fahrenheit was a little black club that was 2 stories. They had a second level and a first level. Shouts out to everybody. If you OG, if you old school, you should remember Fahrenheit. Man, let me tell you, we had a double line from the door all the way out into the shopping plaza. That line had to be about a good 50 yards long. People would stand there in that line the entire night just to get inside. You didn't hear me. The entire night.
Right.
They would not leave that line. So when 3 or 4 people came out, they let 3 or 4 people in, and then people would stand right there and wait. It got so big that when celebrities came to town, they only wanted to come to Fahrenheit. So you would see limousines pulling up. It was bananas, bro. Right. I remember one night when Outkast had just performed at FAMU, and they got booed because it was their first performance at FAMU. Go back and check that, what I just said. They got booed. Right. But they bought their record over to me and RPM. Ask me what song they gave to me on vinyl.
Had to be Players Ball.
It was Players Ball, my man. They handed me and RPM Players Ball on vinyl and asked us if we would play it, and we put Players Ball on. And the crowd went, wow. I don't know why. I said, damn, how they just get booed? But we get them on in the club, and we shot the record out and put it on.
Hold up, Dad. Hold up 1 minute. Hold up. I got to do this. Hold up. Do it. Yeah, man.
What's that? What's that?
That's me and Andre.
Wow, dude. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look here. This probably wouldn't have happened if you ain't say them boys. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's amazing right there, bro. You got a chance to meet him and talk to him.
Like that's like Outkast is like my favorite rap group. And
oh, yeah.
Like even I had a chance to tell him this in that picture. Like I got started in a rap group with me and my cousin. Shouts out to Raven October. That's where I get my name from. But a lot of what we did was mirrored, you know what I'm saying, for what they did.
Right.
So yeah. So for you, and again, anybody out there, we didn't rehearse this. We
Right.
didn't
Now we did.
talk
Yeah, we
prior.
did.
So the
Right.
fact that you had an Outcast story on this podcast,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
Oh
reason
man.
why those boys stuff has gone like double diamond. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
So like 20 million copies, I think, of the last album. I wish they would go ahead and come back out, but they got their reasons, especially Andre. I know
Yep,
Andre is the holdup. He just don't. He trying to do some other stuff in life, so we have to respect that.
right.
Hopefully he'll change his mind
Well,
and they'll
nah,
come back and can do another one.
I don't even nah. Cause I look at it like this. I hope a lot of other people see it too. They haven't put out a real like rap Outcast album in now 25 years.
Yeah,
Which take
yeah,
them,
yeah,
but if you take Speak About Love Below,
yeah.
that was two different albums, and
It was,
Andre was doing whatever, and then
yeah,
with Idlewild, that was a soundtrack, and even on
it
that,
was
they really rarely had songs that they were doing together.
right.
So
But
trust
we
me,
enjoy it.
yeah,
Whatever it is they willing to give us, we'll take it. That's how I
right,
feel about it.
right.
Because
So, but
Speaker
yeah,
Box and the other record that was phenomenal. That blew my
right,
mind. The
right,
music that was on, all the songs that were. There were so many hit records, man. They couldn't even get them out for them to each one of those songs to have they just do when it comes to spins on the radio and all of that. It was just so many. It was too many.
right. So now, trust me, like I said, I'm one of the biggest fans. Shout out my man Wallace because he the only bigger Outcast fan that I know, bigger than me. But yeah, man, yeah. So that's amazing. That's crazy. Also too, shout out to my wife in the comments. She said she remember Fahrenheit, which is insane because she probably
Fahrenheit was lit, wasn't it, baby girl? Listen. See now, if you don't remember, you must not have made it in Fahrenheit.
that's what I'm trying to think. Know how she remember and I don't because I'm like 6 years older than her.
Yeah.
So she was probably like in kindergarten.
He
But
didn't make it out. He didn't make it out, baby girl. He was in the house. He didn't make it out
yeah,
to that one.
yeah, I wasn't up the porch yet. I'm trying to figure out, but she also had an older sister. So
Yeah.
shouts out to Sylvia. Sylvia's probably out there, and that's why she knows. So I
Man,
get it.
they had the formula, bro. They had the formula for, and it's what they did. It's how they did it. It's what they did that made the club be what it was. And if she can remember, it was hard to get in there. You had to show up early, and if you got in, you stayed in. If you come out, I don't even think they let you back in. Like you leave out, you out. And then
Right,
people would literally, I kid you not, waited in line to get in, and that's how they got in. Now at this time. I I started transitioning into getting ready to be in the March 100. I joined the March 100, and I was still trying to do my thing. I just couldn't do it during band season, so I
hmm
would have to try to DJ whenever I got a chance. It was becoming sketchy as to when I could go. When you're in the 100, it's just you don't have much time to do anything else. I was still trying to get my record played. I had my music on the cassette. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story about me trying to get my music played. Some history at 90.5 before I even got on it. I used to go up there and try to get any of the DJs to play my music, and I had it on a cassette tape. I'm gonna tell you a person who used to sit with me beside me trying to get their music played on 90.5. They was a student just like me trying to get their music on. Common. So me
wow.
and Common used to sit up at 90.5 on a Friday night, almost every other Friday. If I wasn't having a DJ, wasn't nothing I'd do at the 100, I would be on, of course, most of the shows was on Saturday. But on a Friday
Right,
night, me and Common just hanging out at Tucker Hall at 90.5, waiting to try to get our cassette play. And I say cassette, trying to get our cassette played. And every now and then we would get to play. It was a show called The Hip Hop Circus, and the DJ was my boy J Squared. That was the only hip hop show in the city of Tallahassee. That was the only hip hop on the radio. Because at the time, 96.1, they played slow songs
Other.
and old school. That was it. There was no hip hop. Only hip hop. There was one hip hop show, and it was on 90.5, and that was it. J Square, Friday night on his rap show. So I can remember the day that Common just gave up and said, "Dap, bruh, I done had enough. I'm getting ready to go back to Chicago. Good luck." He said, I got a homeboy back in Chicago that say he can help me out with getting on. So he said, I'm gonna go and leave fam and go back to Chicago. I gotta get this music thing popping. I kid y'all not. It wasn't even 2 months later where all of a sudden Common blew up with that same music he had on.
Right.
He blew up, got the record deal, and he taking off. Videos
Right.
out. He all over the dang video shows. If you look at that first album, on the back of that album, you'll see shouts out to J Squared Hip Hop Circus. He shouts out that guy on his first album. If you look at the first, you know how to do shout outs on the album.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I haven't been able to bump back in the Common to tell him that story because every time he comes, I'm busy, he's busy. That's crazy how insane that is. This man has come to town multiple times, and I've missed him every single time, and haven't been able to tell him that story, bro. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, like, bro, yo, how this man just dropping Outcasts and Common stores just like he's not, bro? That,
Yeah,
bro.
I got too many stories, bro. I got way too many, man. I got way too many, dude.
What's the
It's a
meme?
lot.
What's the Jackie Chan meme? What?
Yeah, man, it's a
What?
lot of stories, bro. It's a lot.
That's crazy. You know what? Actually, it's got to pivot, and we're gonna have to circle back if we got
Okay.
time.
Okay.
It may be a part two because we ain't even get to the 2000s yet. We still in the
Nah, we
90s.
ain't got to the 2000s. There's still a lot in the 90s, I can tell you, before we even hit 2000.
Yeah, all right. I got to fast forward because I had a question and
Yeah.
I lost my light. Now, low key, I want to ask this question but you mentioned three names already, or two rather.
Yeah.
As far as hip hop in Tallahassee, um, mentioned Dead Prez,
Yeah.
which from what I can remember, kind of one of the first hip hop acts to get signed.
Yeah.
And then of course Common, who granted he's from Chicago and always rep Chicago, but
Yeah.
it's known that he spent time here in FAMU, which you just confirmed, even if anybody had any questions,
Oh,
if
yeah.
there ever was a question. And so I figured I've had a knowledge of people in the game, even though I'm learning, which is crazy. Especially the past month or so,
Yeah.
of how much Tallahassee hip hop history
Oh, yeah. It's
in
a
the
lot.
'90s that I
Oh, yeah.
didn't know,
A
and so
lot.
I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Court. I have to get him on here and tell his piece. But and even so, when I got in the game, or really got into the game really strong, in the 2000s, I kind of felt I was privy to the things that were happening, and even going into the 2010s. Um, Kind of figured I knew what was the ins and outs. Like I said, I started the podcast back in '08, which is kind of similar to your story as well. Be it that, you know, I was in a rap group and we had a crew and we were trying to get on.
Yeah.
And through trying to get on, of course it was tough to get on the radio, which you was part of that, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
I understood I understood how radio worked, especially being in journalism at film. So I knew what the game was.
Yeah.
Um, so in that we decided, or I came up with the idea of doing what was called internet radio at the time. It wasn't even podcasting, and that's
Right.
how all this birthed. But anyway, doing the podcasting and thinking that I had a post in the city. Um, but in the midst of that, I must have missed something because there's one particular artist that came out of Tallahassee. um, that you know pretty well that just kind of flabbergasted me as
Right.
far as how they got on. Like I said, I knew about Dead Prez, knew
Yeah.
about, of course, T-Pain and the Nappy Heads, knew about even even as far as like Lil Tyler and Bobby Fiscale
Great.
and all of them. I
Yeah.
kind of
Randy
had
Styles
some
and Boston Richie. Yeah.
right. But one person that just out of nowhere, and I'm still trying to figure out how they got
Yeah.
past me because I was in the game at that time. It's Kent Jones.
Yeah.
And I know
Yes.
that's your boy. So
Yeah.
one of the questions I had for you was like, how in the hell? Like respect to
Yeah.
him. I respect that he did it. And that he's from here. And so be it that I know that's your boy.
Yeah.
How?
I can tell you. So he Kent grew up, was born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida. His grandparents were church folks. They still own a church now.
Okay.
So he grew up in the church, playing in the band in the church in the choir, and his musical family. Man, his grandma was an amazing singer. Granddaddy a preacher, and while he was growing up here, his mom decided she would go to Miami, Florida to pursue a job or whatnot. And so, of
Mm,
course, she took Kent with her. So
okay.
Kent probably left here when he was like anywhere between 7 to 11 years old, something like that. I want to say 11. I want to say he was 11 years old, I believe. Somewhere in that age range. But he left, went to Miami, and he finished going. He went to Miami to go to high school. Of course, he would come back up here for the summertime. Come back home to Tallahassee. His entire family is here, by the way, in
Okay.
Tallahassee. So, uh, of course, he'd come back for the summertime. And then, when it was time for him to graduate high school, guess where he wanted to go to college? He came back up here to go to school, and he started. And the crazy thing is, I just talked to, and this is funny too because I just found this out. A cousin of his is also a cousin of mine. We are both
Wow.
some kin to the same person. I'm some kin to this person on the father's side, and he's some kin on the mom's side. So
Right.
that's we just found that out. So I literally just found that out. This is my boy Daryl. Daryl is a TPD officer. My cousin Daryl, man, amazing dude. Kent Jones is his cousin, but he is also my cousin. We didn't find this out that we were cousins. Literally, now listen to this. Just within the last 8 months, we
Wow.
probably we
Wow.
found out we were. This is after we've done the whole thing with me and Kent Jones doing music together, shooting the video, all of that.
You probably
Um,
looking back like, yeah, I see them. They don't even know.
yeah, man. So we found out we cousins and we relatives, but me and him was just talking about Kent the other day because Kent is embarking on a brand new project. Everybody about to find out about this in a minute, but right now there's a lot of things going on, and it'll come out in a little bit. But all of the workings of that project is happening right now. So hopefully soon we'll see this. I cannot wait till this project comes out. Being me is crazy because there's a lot of stuff I know that I can't speak on because I always know stuff
Right.
before it happens.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, so Kent, he moves back up here, and I noticed because as Daryl was telling me how he would look out for Kent, he just, of course, you a college student, you broke,
Right.
so he was
Right.
supporting when he's doing his music and stuff. But he was getting ready to get into the March 100. He finally got him a scholarship so he can get in the 100. And I'd be damned if the situation happened with Robert Champion with the March 100 and the
Right.
band shut down. So that
Right.
scholarship he was about to get to go into the 100, all of a sudden he didn't get it. He
Wow.
got a little discouraged about that. Like, you know what? I'm going back to Miami. He was in Miami, wasn't even 2 months. He sent his music to Khaled, and Khaled signed him on the spot.
Wow. Wow.
And instantly his song blew up. Now it happened right then. So when that song blew up in, was it 2018, 2019, whenever it happened,
Right.
it just happened. It just blew up. And the next thing you
Wow.
know, the video out, he's performing at the awards shows, and he's from Tally, and he's just blowing up. People don't even know he was from Tallahassee.
Right. Okay.
And
That
yeah, I didn't realize it either. I didn't know till later on. I just found out, obviously, a couple of years ago. And when I did, and me and him connected and talked, I said, dog, right now, when I found this out in talk, it just so happened I had started working on an album, which I haven't put out yet. I've been working on my album for the longest.
Yeah, I
I
ain't
put
gonna,
a
yeah, I
hold
ain't gonna
I
front.
put a hold on it to go to move back into party promotions and event promotions. So I put a hold on that. I still do the 850 records thing because it's all 850 records, but I put a hold on it for a little bit. But when I
Okay.
first started to work on the album, we just so happened to bump into each other. He was like, "Hey, dude, I want to do a song with you," and that's how we end up coming up with doing Magic. And
Nice.
that's that song. We did the video, man. I made sure the video was produced here in Tally, and we got that song on BET Soul. It ran for 84 weeks on
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
man. And around the country, it's probably between 12 and 14 radio stations around the country actually played the record. Now, my own station didn't even play it because it just didn't have the proper numbers that it needed in
Right.
order for it to get played. So I told everybody, I said, you see, I even follow my own. It ain't my rules, it's Cumulus rules.
Right.
So
Right.
I have to go by the rules. Even with my own music, I can't even go and put my own, and I won't. Because if the numbers ain't there, I'm not going to just play it because it ain't about me. It's about, I'm going to go by exactly what I tell everybody else.
Right.
I have to because it's the truth. I am, when you're a program director, you tell people what the real is. That is the real, actual truth. You play records based on the numbers that they have. If the
Right.
song is there at a certain level and is ready to be played, then we play it. So I didn't
Yeah,
even play my own music on my own station when I put that song out 2 years ago.
right. No, that's why I stated like I knew what it was
Yeah.
as far as like how radio set up and
hmm
with
It's
Cumulus
not.
or
It's
back in
nothing
the day
like.
you had
It's nothing like. Hustle and Flow. Like the movie.
right.
The movie's the movie. That's a
Right.
movie. That is not real. You have to actually pick up a music book and read. If you don't know, read and learn and find out how the music industry works. But that doesn't work how the movie goes. It doesn't work
Right.
like that anymore. Long time ago, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. No, actually me and my crew, we made a song. But why can't I remember the name of it? Was it After Radio? I think we did go kind of. I think, but
Tell us how you
I
really
remember
feel.
right because it was me, my man Dermo, my girl Jazz, and I want to say Raven October was on it too, or he did like an ad lib. But in the song, I remember I name checked you, Jay Quick, and I think maybe Dimp.
Oh man, you
I,
hated on us.
no, it wasn't hate. It wasn't hate. No, this is the thing because I played the song. I played the song to Jay Quick, and I remember like thinking like, man, I hope he think I'm trying to take a shot at him or whatever. But he peeped it. He peeped what we was saying. He was like,
Yeah,
yo, like that shit dope. And I was like, oh snap, like quit fucking
yeah.
with it. Okay,
Yeah,
feel
if quick
like
says dope, then it's dope.
right, right, because he ain't gonna play the radio with you. Like he gonna be real.
Nah,
So if
at
he
all. He
be
gonna
like,
tell you
yeah, that
straight up. Yeah.
yeah. So, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing. Matter of fact, I'll shoot you. Cause we still got the link on the website.
Okay.
I'll shoot you the link so you can hear it. But no, it was, or at least I can say this: I didn't. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't think we took any shots, but I know I didn't. I just remember I name checked y'all just to kind of, get the attention, get people doing my
Yeah.
being like the gang name dropping.
Right.
But in the midst of that, like I said, I understood what the game, how the game was played or whatever. Because
Yeah.
you would hear that. You would hear people, man, they ain't playing they ain't gonna play our radio stuff, man. We trying to come up in the game, blah, 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 blah. They ain't gonna play our stuff. And it's like that's not how it is. If you don't understand
Yeah.
what Cumulus is, you don't understand, especially back in the day, who Clear Channel is,
Yeah.
or any of these, conglomerates that, basically, in a sense, can't think of a better word, kind of dictate what's getting played.
Yeah.
Like there's not a way you can really break into
Man,
radio like that.
you got Cox, you got Radio One, you got Cumulus, you got iHeart, you got Odyssey. It's a bunch of
Yep.
different big time radio corporation. But I mean, it's like that with record labels too. Look at all the big
Right.
labels that, there's no way around it. You got big television, you got everything's big like that with a big corporation. Hell, our the whole country's ran by corporations. The food
Right.
that you buy, the stores you go in, everything. Yeah, we
Right.
on
They
a
all come.
corporation right now by doing this podcast. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Shouts out this StreamYard.
Yeah, man,
But
stream up. They wasn't. That's how we function. That's just how our country functions. So yeah, you got to figure out. You got to figure out the game and how to play it and how they want it done is how it's going to be done. There's no way around that unless you go to independent round and own your own thing. So it's
right.
always smart to do that anyway. At the same time as you trying to go that route, you need to explore all possibilities. Don't just go one route.
Right. And
Because
I think that's
especially if you haven't learned how it works, and that's most people's problem. They
yep.
watch Hustle and Flow and think that's how it goes. You just go to the studio, make a song, and then take it to the radio station. Well, that's not it. That's not how that works. I know the movie said that. I know several movies that said that, but that's actually not how it works.
Right. Right. And that's honestly that's why with the podcast and the way I got it set up, was for that reason. So people be educated. To give people that opportunity. So it's just like before go out, especially when I would interview independent or up and coming artists, the ideal is like, yo, let me give y'all a leeway to understand, how to interview, how to handle questions on the
Yeah,
spot, whatever. So when you get to that point where you are in a corporate setting, um, you'll be somewhat familiar with it, or familiar
yeah,
how to deal with, doing an interview. But then also too, um, what was I gonna say? Um, yeah, also being able to give that knowledge to those type artists, what I'm
yeah,
saying, that don't quite understand. Like, look, so as far as having new up and coming artists, giving them the opportunity to being able to interview and do those things and get their chops together. But on the flip side, getting more established artists or saying people like yourself who's been in the game to give that game to them and be like, look, this how this shit work.
yeah,
So what I'm saying, this how you gotta figure it out because like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, you have the culture and then you got the business.
yeah,
And if you're trying to get into the business of it, you got to know or know the know-how. 'Cause I remember me, like, I started at fam, I was in SBI. 'Cause they didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. So I started a business, but then realized, all right, this ain't my forte. But I got into journalism because I wanted to get into hip hop journalism. Like
yeah.
I wanted to write for the Source or Vibe or Double XL and all those things.
Right.
And part of that was I wanted to learn more about how the industry worked. You know what I'm saying? Like I always already understood that what we was reading in the Source was pretty much fluff.
Yeah. It
I
was.
want like I want the real stuff. Like I'm in Billboard and yo, what the numbers are, like who doing this,
Right.
who doing that, like who's the A&R, who's the vice president of this company. Like I was interested in that. And so that's what kind of started me into journalism, which essentially is what I'm doing, continuing now with the podcast or whatever. Um, so yeah. So again, unfortunately, we're gonna have to do a part two so we can get into, what I'm saying, the work you've done as far as, being in radio. Um, well, at least before we get up out of here, I do
Yeah.
want to
We didn't
is
even get
on,
to the how I got in the radio part. Yeah.
you know what I mean? 'Cause you were intricate. Now, as far as my hip hop memory, or hip hop, or my memory in Tallahassee hip hop, was like you stated before in the mid '90s, like 96.1, 96.1 when playing that.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Joe Bullock, but they wasn't trying to play no rap at
Yeah.
all.
Man, at the time, yeah. And I don't
Yeah,
think he was even on there at the time. He wasn't even
right.
he
He
wasn't there
was he
yet.
was he was at with Columbia.
Yeah, he's still a
Um,
record label guy. Yeah.
yeah. So but but then um come going into the early 2000s. Well, before then, all you had was 90.5. And to mention the story I told you before we came on here. I remember, you know, well, it had to be ninth grade, listening to 90.5 and hearing you and Dimp and Saxwell and everybody else. And
Right.
y'all was I remember for the first time hearing Who Shot You, which Biggie is like my favorite rapper of all time. Andre number three. Uh, so
Right.
to hear Who Shot You and just how eerie it was, I just remember like being entrenched, but then also too remembering you guys just being on the radio and just having fun and joking and doing all the stuff or whatever. Not knowing that in the future I would be doing the same thing as far as not just a podcast, but my time at with the Underground Railroad over the 89.7.
Yeah.
Was basically that was the same vibe that we was basically the same vibe that we was presenting was the
Yeah.
same vibe I remember you guys doing back
Oh
then.
yeah. Yeah.
Um and so but be it that was pretty much the only like hip hop you could really have access to
That's right.
until coming around the turn of the century where all of a sudden we went from no hip hop stations to like three.
Multiple. Yeah, we have
And
105.7, 100.7 The
mhm,
Beat, and Blazing 102.3 came out at the same time.
right. And honestly, I believe that was, if not one of the catalyst to blowing up T-Pain.
Yeah.
Because we had we finally had that foundation
Yeah.
um to present hip hop, if not from Tallahassee, at least
Yeah.
in Tallahassee. We had a place where we can go to where we can get that hip hop from the radio as opposed to just BET or MTV.
Right.
So I want to know, like, w- as as short as possible, because I know you probably can do this for like an hour and probably 2 hours
I
explaining
can
this
easily.
this topic. Because you was very intricate in this part. But what was that experience seeing hip hop radio in Tallahassee like blow up at that time?
Oh man, it's amazing because, like you said, at the time when I first got here, was 96.1 was playing, which is the urban station. They were playing the slow stuff and the old school, and then 90.5. It was a community station at the time. Really, it wasn't a station for the students. It was just, it had always been that way. So they would play jazz and old
Mhm.
school and gospel, everything except hip hop. The only one hip hop show was the circus, hip hop circus with Jay Square. And then Jay Square left. I'm going to tell y'all the gentleman who ended up, and I'm sorry, but here comes another story. I'm gonna make it quick though.
It's all
Another
good.
gentleman who stepped in with the only next hip hop show that was given to this guy, and it was a late night Thursday night. It was the only one they would do. They would only do one. I'm gonna
Mhm.
see if you know who this guy was who ended up being this popular guy, and he's of course he's a celebrity and he's big time now, and he's done some amazing things. You know who had that late night Thursday night hip hop show on 90.5?
I can't remember this man's
I'm
name.
testing him, y'all.
I know Parker.
Who?
Is it Parker? The
Parker?
movie producer.
Man, you know your stuff. It was
Chocolate
Will
City.
Packer. It's
Will
correct.
Packer.
That's right. You know your stuff, bro. You
Chocolate
gotta
City.
know
I
your
remember
stuff to know
Chocolate City
that.
drop.
Will Packer had a late night hip hop show Thursday night, late night. And he was when he made Chocolate City, he had that show and he was trying to
Okay.
do his thing. And I was on 90.5. That's when I had just started doing 90.5. I didn't have a show yet. So you couldn't have a show. Hell, there was only one rap show. But
Right.
I had I had just finished marching in the Marching 100, and Saxwell had been saying to me over and over again, Dap, you need to get on the radio. Dap, you need. I wouldn't. I said, no, I ain't trying to do that. Dap, you need to get on the radio. So I said, all right, Saxwell, I'm gonna come up there and hang out with you just so I can see what you're talking about and fill it out. And maybe I DJ and stuff. I'm still trying to rap. I ain't trying to do no radio, bruh. I
Right.
went and hung out. God bless the dead. I went up there and hung out with Saxwell. Man, I fell in love with radio.
Mm,
And at that time, that was it. It was only 90.5 and 96.1.
right.
Will Packer's getting ready to leave. So when Will Packer graduated, If people don't know this, but Will Packer, before he left, took the radio station over and locked the doors to the hallway and threw a freaking party and stayed on the radio. His radio show was supposed to be from 11 to 1 a.m. He stayed on the radio to 5 o'clock in the morning and threw a party the entire night, locked the door. FAMU police couldn't get in. They couldn't turn the radio station off. He played all the music he wanted to play that entire night, and they threw a freaking party. He opened the door to the radio station so the music was loud into the hall, and they threw a party on the radio. But they still didn't, at the time, he was kind of powerful at the time because he was a student senator. So he's part of SDA and all of that. So they didn't do nothing to him. They just fussed at him a little bit, and they knew he's getting ready to graduate. Crazy. So Will Packer said, before I leave, I'm going to give my show to somebody. And everybody bugged out. Everybody was trying to get his show. Yeah, people from New York who were big time trying to get his show, and some boys from Atlanta, and people from, I know he going to give it to me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was trying to get the show, bro. He said, I'm going to give it to the little dude from Panama City. He didn't even really know my name. What the boy name is, DJ Dap. He said, I'm going to give it to him because he's going to do some big things in radio one day. I'm gonna let him have the show. Everybody lost their mind. They couldn't believe it. Will Packer gave me his radio show, and I took over Thursday night doing 11 to 1. And at that time, radio started really taking off at the time because FAMU decided they wanted to turn the radio station 90.5 into a real station. So they brought in this guy named Keith Miles, not the Keith Miles at FAMU now, but there's another Keith Miles they brought in from Grambling. He took 90.5 and changed it from a community radio station into a real radio station with real on-air shifts. He gave me an on-air shift, gave a lot of the DJs, certain DJs on-air shifts, and he kicked all the older folks out. So only the students now can be on the air. Right. So I got an air shift. And from me having that air shift, when these other stations switched, 96 switched over and had to start playing hip hop and everything else because 90.5 is killing the game now. Now it sounds like a real radio station where real DJs like me on 3 to 7. At the time I was on 4 to 7. And the whole city listening to a damn college station now. So over there on 96, they having to change. Now they got to change because they over there playing slow music and old school. We over here playing all the hip hop and up to date R&B. So the whole city is listening to 90.5. I'm over there doing phone taps. You know what I'm saying? With comedians live on the air. I'm interviewing people like Slip and Slide. Everything's happening at 90.5. The whole city's listening to this. So 96 started changing. And all of a sudden, also 96 to start that Cumulus, which on 96, decided to start Blazing 102.3. Right. At the time, Stephen Spoon Ramsey and Van Wilson them decided they were going to start Hot 105.7. I got a phone call and I was hired to come over and do 105.7. I was DJing on 90.5, got the phone call, went to them, and I signed the contract and I started doing commercial radio. And at that time, about a good 6 months later, Clear Channel at the time decided they were going to start 100.7 The Beat. Yep. And that's how I started doing radio. And that's how commercial hip hop radio in Tallahassee jumped off. Quick went over to Quick was with The Beat. I was with Hot 105. And then them boys, they got Ed the World Famous and them over there on Blazing. Yeah. And they had Schoolboys and all of them over there. And you had Superstar J Quick, Frank Love, Felicia Fox on The Beat. And then me, Demp, and Saxwell and Spoon, we were all on Hot 105. Yeah. That was the start of Tallahassee hip hop radio.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Ed the World Famous. You threw me.
Yes. That was my Marching 100 band, brother, by the way. That's how I ended up going over to Blazing 102.3 because when 105.7 was sold and they shut it down, he hired me over to Blazing. Wow. And I got to tell you this real quick. While I was on 105.7, that famous movie producer that we talking about, Will Packer, hired me and my Tallahassee Hot Boys, who at the time had grabbed T-Pain and started helping him with his music through promotions, hired us to promote his movies, and we started doing movie promotions for Will Packer. We promoted his first movie called Trois.
Trois. Yep.
I'm telling you, I got so many stories, but I can go on and on and on.
No, matter of fact, I remember that because I remember when Trois dropped. I was a freshman. They had to be like 99, 2000. I was a freshman at FAM, and I remember seeing them posters.
Yes, I put those posters. Me and my team put those posters up.
And you know
Matter of fact, if you listen to Will Packer, the last 6 months he's been promoting a book, he'll tell you how back then they would go out hand to hand putting out flyers. But what he don't mention is the team that he had doing that with him, putting flyers out. He hired us to promote his movie all through Southern Georgia, North Florida. So me and my crew went all the way down to Gainesville. We went to Atlanta. We went to Albany. We went to Panama City. We went to Jacksonville to promote his movie with all those posters and flyers. And that's how we promoted his movie. And that's how his movie ended up getting views and people watching it. And we helped him with that project. And at the same time, we had took T-Pain under our arm and started helping T-Pain with his music.
Right.
And he started singing.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Going from the story from the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
That was probably around the time when I saw you.
It was.
I was like, hey, man, I want to see him.
And what y'all don't know, what me and him said off the air before we got on the air was, at that time when I first started 90.5, ladies and gentlemen, we had vinyl records that we would take and put on the turntable, put the needle on the record, and we had broadcast pots that we would turn like doorknobs to turn the music up and down. And we had to play commercials with cart tapes. We manually played each commercial with a separate tape. Each commercial would be on a separate tape that we had to play separately. So we had to stick it in 3 cart machines, play 3 commercials, remove those, play the next 3, manually each commercial by punching a button.
Yeah.
And that's how we did everything with that. Yeah. That's how it started.
Ain't mad that I missed that era. That sounds crazy.
Everything was manual. At the end of the show, a 4-hour show, man, you'd be tired of saying you had to carry your crate of records up to the radio station to play your records. You know what I'm saying? You carry crates.
Right.
We talk about 60-pound crates of records.
Give me my laptop and my
right.
a little internal hard drive.
Yeah, not just the external hard drive. That's it.
You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I remember, I think
I still got my crates of records in my garage, bro.
Yeah, I think 100.7 had to be still. Was that 100.7?
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember I was interviewing Thrill.
Yep, he had a show on there at one point, right?
Yep. And I remember, I think the first time I met E-Zone. Shouts out to E-Zone.
Yep, E-Zone was on 100.7 also. That's right.
Yeah, and I remember going in there and I saw that they were loading up the songs through Adobe Audition.
Yeah.
And me and my cuz, we had just switched over from Music Magic Maker to Adobe Audition to record.
Wow.
So when I peeped that, I was like, okay, we straight. Now, granted, it wasn't Pro Tools, but I was like, at least we doing something, similar to what the radio doing. So
yeah, we still use Adobe now to produce commercials now. We still use it. It's been the best application for us, bro.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm not gonna hold too much of your time. We already at the hour 15 mark. Like I said, we gotta do a part 2 because, man, this been mind blowing. We've been name dropping.
And that's a lot of stuff, bro.
And again, shout out to my wife. She said I remember Twa as well, even though she was probably 4 years old. I'm joking.
Yeah, with the amazing Kenya Moore, man. That was right. Kenya Moore's start to stardom right there was Twa, the movie Twa.
Right. Shout out to my cousin Abe. He old. He's like, wow, those were the days. Yeah, Abe.
Yeah, man.
really.
I used to do the represent line on Hot 105 at the time when I used to love that, man. It just
Oh
you bringing
man,
back memories now. When I used to do the
right.
represent line. I know y'all remember the represent line. We used to do the represent line. Everybody jump on and shout out their school and what
Right.
area they from. And yeah, man, we
That's
used to
the
do
first
all
time I
that
even
stuff,
heard
bro.
what like a shout out was during that time. I was like, yeah, I call, yeah, I shout out, whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
yeah,
what all the everybody lay it down. That's where that came from. Come on and
right.
represent your
It's
town.
your
That's why
child,
the
right.
DJ would say that in the club because they got that from me on the radio, doing it on the radio.
Right. A said that 9 o'clock hour getting dressed for the club was jumping. Yup. Fee
Yeah.
said, bruh. My bad, baby. She was in middle school. She was in middle school. I'm tripping. Um, Abe said, I remember that. I bet you do, Abe, because Abe about 65. No, I'm joking. Abe's, Abe, my cousin Abe, he a 70s baby. He a 70s baby. Shout out
Right,
to my
right.
cousin Abe. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna get out your hair, man. Again, I'm completely honored to have you
Thanks,
on
bro.
here.
Honored to
Um,
be here.
and I'll say this, 'cause I wanted to allude to it. Um, Now I say this with so much respect. 'Cause I definitely have respect for that. I mean for them, of course. Which I used to do that a lot too. Just real quick. I used to mix y'all names up. Not the
Yeah,
person. It was just I'll say Dap to say them,
yeah,
or so
yeah.
them to say
Because us
Dap back in the
doing
day.
what we do. Yeah,
Yeah. So I just clicked in my head when I did it. Anyway,
yeah. The
but as
D and
much
the P in our name. Yeah, and the fact that we
right.
both DJs. Right.
But and I hope this interview, and the next one we're gonna do, hopefully sooner than later, um, show people that as much respect and deservedly so that Demp get in this city, that same respect should be given to this man. Because he's done so much in the game, um, as evident just in this quick, not even hour and a half. So I will hope that those out there will do more and say more to give Dap his flowers because he truly deserve it. So many people that I know or have known that has put that he's put on through his work, rather than 105 point Hot 105 or 90.5 or 102.3, especially from the time you start from 102 to the present. So yeah, man, I
Thanks.
just want to give you your flowers, bro. Like you truly, that's out my wife. You truly an 850 legend. You know what I mean?
Thank
From
you.
here, Panama
Appreciate
City,
that, bro.
Pensacola. And just a hip hop legend, period. Um, and so, I mean, honestly, me coming up to you when I saw you, you know what I'm saying, when I saw you to ask for the interview, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Make a front. Yeah, I was a bit nervous. Not that, you ever was intimidated or nothing like that. It was just because I respect the work and the time that you put in the game. Um,
Thanks,
and
bro.
have done for people. So again, hopefully what I'm saying? We can run this back, what I'm saying? Really get into the 2000s and the
We
2010s
got
and even
to.
the
Yeah, we got
2020s
to. Yeah.
um, to get more information out there. But we'll give you props. Anybody out there, again, like, share, comment, um, all of those things or whatever. And yeah, just put the word out there, man. And other than that, I guess we got y'all here. I appreciate any and everybody. Shouts out to my wife with the phenomenal cooking experience, doing her thing. She just went to her leadership Tallahassee first meeting today because she's a superstar like that. Um, she famous. So shouts out to the phenomenal cooking experience. Also, shouts out to myself. Photos by Enigma Sept. Um, any photography needs y'all got, holla at your boy. Shouts out to my man DJ A to the L. Holla at your boy. You know what I mean? If you need any photography needs, I got you. Studio, outside, group, weddings. I got you. So just holla at me. Other than that, we're gonna get y'all here. This is the Enigma Sept Hour podcast. You got time, baby.